After 2 years of big protests at the Westlake Mall holiday festivities, organizers say this year will be smaller. There won't be a big stage and 2 hours of live music like years past. The announcement doesn't specifically name protests as the reason for the change, but they have been disruptive. Back in 2014, protesters interrupted the concert when they stormed onto the mall balcony, forcing police and mall security to close down hours early. And last year, multiple arrests and an officer hurt when protesters again stormed into the two malls, blocking traffic for hours. We're reaching out to organizers now. We're now hearing directly from the state senator who's accused of wanting to criminalize protests in our state.
Ferndale Senator Doug Erickson wants to make what he calls economic terrorism a Class C felony. New at 5, KIRO 7's Essex Porter sat down with Erickson today, and Essex's state senator told you he's being misunderstood.
He did, and in fact, I've just been checking, however, just so you know what a Class C felony is, what the penalties are. It turns out that's up to $10,000 in fines and up to 5 years in prison. So it's really quite serious. But Erickson tells me those big protests we've been seeing in downtown Seattle are not what his bill is aimed at. Seattle has seen huge marches and rallies protesting the election of Donald Trump to the presidency. They have been peaceful but disruptive. Now, Ferndale Senator Doug Erickson wants a law that would make protests a Class C felony if they become what he calls economic terrorism.
Nothing in the Preventing Economic Terrorism Act in any way impacts a person's right to protest peacefully. Granted to us in the Constitution, I firmly support the right to protest. But when you take that level of protest to the next level and harm another person, that's where we draw the line.
The Erickson bill creates a new crime called economic terrorism. It criminalizes illegal protests aimed at causing economic damage and targets the unlawful disruption of transportation and commerce. Erickson has oil refineries in his district and said he's really trying to go after people who try to block oil trains.
And this really comes from movements in Washington state and throughout the country that are working towards abusing the protest process to be able to harm economic activity, to shut down factories and refineries, and to harm a person's ability to make a living.
But Erickson was deputy director of the Trump campaign in Washington state. Are you criminalizing dissent?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Seattle's Mayor Murray is skeptical.
The last time I checked, protesting was a First Amendment right related to free speech.
Now, as for that call from Seattle City Councilmember Shawna Sawant for a nationwide shutdown on Inauguration Day, we asked Erickson about that, but he's not sure that comes under his definition of economic terrorism. He says it all depends on how it's done. Reporting live in Linwood, Essex Porter, KIRO 7 News.
There's lots of gray here, Essex. Now, many police departments, as we know, have been working to improve strained relationships with their communities. It seems like this could just increase the tension. Did the senator address that?
Now, that didn't come up specifically in our discussion, but if you look at what he's written here, it does not at all take away the discretion that police have to make an arrest or the discretion that prosecutors have to prosecute something if they feel it's truly necessary.
All right.